The following program is a podcast1.com production.
Your healthy radio addiction starts now.
Power to the people!
The Laura Ingraham Show.
Teens, it's time to unplug. New research reveals heavy social media use can take a psychological toll on teenagers. Teens who use social media for more than 2 hours a day are at an increased risk of poor mental health.
Every day, even in the food store, you'll run into people going, hey, so I saw so-and-so on Facebook. You're on Facebook? You're not? And then they feel like, oh, okay, I have to get on. And once they're on, by the way, they're hooked.
You are listening to the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA. Well, social media making people depressed, social media taking a toll on teens' mental health. A new survey out showed that teens that spend 2 or more hours a day on social media, that's pretty much every teen. And that's pretty much everyone I know, have an increased risk of poor mental health. 25% are on social media. Oh, it says 25% on social media 2 or more hours a day. 25% have poor mental health. They have anxiety, suicidal thoughts. Why do you think that is? You think that people see that what everyone else is doing, they feel like my life isn't very exciting because, look, they have better clothes or they're at a better vacation or... I mean, I guess this doesn't really surprise me because it's a lot of this is just a big time suck. And Raymond, you have a teenage son. I mean, how much time is he on social media?
He's not allowed to have any social media. I mean, there's a very limited email account, and that's for communications with us and the school, et cetera, because schools now require them to have email accounts. Now, his is set up through the school, so they monitor it, and so do we.
Do they monitor it?
Of course they monitor it, sure. And that's why it's through their server. And we've of course appraised him of that fact. Careful what you do, because there are other eyes looking into this account. So know that that's the deal. Look, you're not going to be able to police and stop everything, but you put the parental blocks on their devices. You try to interest them in other things in the broader world. So Alex would much prefer going on a bike ride or going to play a sport or going out with his friends than sitting around, in the corner playing with his telephone.
For a teenager, it doesn't make sense to think of my life and then I get distracted by social media. We're not going to be taking away the internet. It's more a question of living with these devices that so compel us in a way that serves our human purposes.
Oh my God, I hear people like this and I just think... Oh my God.
Wasn't it better when I was talking?
Wasn't it better when you were listening to me than some lame expert on... Jeez. Well, as you tell from my experience, this morning, early, I'm like, Maria, come with me. We're going to a nearby track. It's very close to my house, okay, a track. And it's only a few people running around the track early in the morning. They're the diehard exercisers. I'm not a very good runner, okay? I used to be, but not anymore. But I get around a little bit, and so I don't want to run, and she's, she wants to dog it with me running. And I said, look at you. You have great legs for running. You have a great physique for running, and this will help you in every sport. You've got to be fit. Because she's really fast when she wants to be. But then it takes some conditioning for kids. If you want to play sports, you want to be fast. And if you're sitting watching TV or you're on a device or you're on a Facebook page, you're not getting physical activity. And don't tell me about how the Wii helps you stay physically fit. I mean, that's pretty much over, isn't it, the Wii? That is tedious. So we go out, and first lap of the track, first quarter mile, she's panting, and I'm not doing much better. But I was like, look, I'm on the back nine now, Maria. She doesn't know what that means. But I'm the back nine. You're young. You should be able to just trounce me in running. She starts to get her, competitive juices going. She starts flying around that track. I mean, running. Her legs are kicking up, and she passes me. Okay, she passes me on lap 2, going into the half-mile mark. And I thought to myself, this is this makes me really happy. Like before I had kids, when younger people would pass me, it would kind of annoy me. Or how about when fat people pass you? That's really, it's humiliating. It happened when I ran the New York Marathon. A lot of really heavy people passed me. And you think, okay, what's wrong with my running ability? So I used to be kind of annoyed by it, but I'm so happy that Maria is soon going to just be able to just run laps, or literally lap me on the track. But it's a long-winded way of saying, I don't let her play these games. She's not going to play these video games. She's not going to be on social media. This is just not what we do as a family. It is not going to be what they do. Now, call me a tyrant, say I'm trying to put the genie back in the bottle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you show me a kid who spends 2 hours a day on social media, and I will show you a kid who is not living up to his or her potential. Period. If you disagree with me, I'm happy to hear from you. But if you're so interested in what other people are doing, you're not doing. What are you going to do? What are you going to encourage your child to do? Try his or her best at whatever it is. Of course, school, do your best, and find some passion. Maybe it's art. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's a sport. I don't know what it is, but you can't be doing if you're voyeuristically observing other people's lives on social media or engaging with people who are living thousands of miles away on topics that are either celebrified or irrelevant to your own betterment. 855-40 Laura. Your thoughts on this? But it was one of those moments today where I thought, okay, this is the beginning of a long line of activities that she's going to beat mom on, and it's good. And she said, "Why are you smiling?" Because we only we did like 5 laps around the track. We didn't have much time. She said, "Why are you smiling?" She was kind of annoyed that I made her go out and run with me. I said, "Because you passed me." And for a kid, they don't want anyone to pass. She didn't understand that. I said, "Nothing makes me happier than to know you're going to be better than I am. Make fewer mistakes, be better, have a better experience." That's what every mother wants. I said before, when I was running around with my godfather, we were running, getting some exercise. And when his son passed us, Frankie passes us, I was like, oh, God, Frankie comes back and laps us. That's before I had kids. And now I'm happy when my kids pass me. It makes me feel good.
Are you setting an age to where they can get on social media?
No.
16, 17, 18?
No.
Or move out of the house that you can get on it?
Yeah, this is not going to be what we do. This is not what we do. We don't have time.
She's going to catch wind of it when she gets into high school.
Of course she is. She's going to catch wind of a lot of things.
And then she can just do it behind your back.
Well, I guess she can do it behind my back, but
Raymond
mom's eyes are everywhere.
No, you have to.
My eyes are everywhere. I know what is going
eyes
on
in the back
my
of your
home.
head.
I know.
Now,
you think you can hide something? You can't. The truth always comes out.
I think you have to. I mean, it's helpful, I think, to introduce it slowly when they are age appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate for an 8-year-old to have their own
blog. How about the 8-year-olds that have blogs?
Have their own blogs and Twitter accounts and Facebook and Instagram. I mean, these little kids, maybe I shouldn't say this, but there have been little girls who've come on play dates with Mariela, and they're taking like snapshot pictures.
Oh, no, I don't let anyone
take
pictures of my kids.
No, we don't do those here. She just doesn't. Now, Mariela obviously knows that there's this internet universe out there, but she's 9. So, no, she's not going to be engaging in that way now. Now, when she reaches her teen years, okay, we'll slowly take the walk out with her, but you have to manage it and control it.
It's like an addiction. You look up one moment and it's day, and you look up another moment and it's night.
She wasn't doing any other task, like her room was really messy, and then a couple times actually we fight over it.
Who's that?
Mom and daughter.
Oh, okay. No.
I mean, it's true that they get on. I mean, I suffered from it when I was 15, 16. You get on in the morning, and then you're like, oh, man, it's 6 o'clock at night. I haven't done anything.
You stayed on from the morning until
I
6
did.
o'clock.
I did. When you first get hooked with Facebook and social media, it's just this universe that you just
it takes you out of your hometown, and you
then
feel
you're
like
searching for all the friends that you can't talk to anymore.
You actually can't cultivate real friendships because you're too busy with virtual friendships.
It's actually very true.
And by the way, Drudge has this thing linked from Time Magazine on the this is a good dovetail into the virtual reality. Now, that's the new virtual reality headsets. People are going to be living in a virtual reality life. I don't know if you followed this, but it's a way of living in a whole different place. So it's going to take movies movies are going to become like less interesting to a lot of people because they're going to have a virtual reality that they can create and live in with different characters, and so now we're having a this pathway to a virtual life. Is this because people just don't want to live their own lives? I don't know what this is, but people are so miserable. Maybe it's just that people are so miserable that they have to live in a virtual life. It's like when that game Second Life came out many years ago. That became the other life for miserably married men and women who wanted to find love in Russia or find love in Sweden, and finally they can design their character, and they go from 250 pounds, 5'8", to 6'3", an Adonis body, right? Suddenly they look and they become someone else. But do you find yourself wasting time on social media? Number one. Number two, do you notice either kids or grandkids also disengaging from current life while they engage looking down at a screen? How does that manifest itself? Is it at a meal? Is it while they're walking? I love the people falling and walking into lampposts, falling off a curb. By the way, I did that once. I fell off a curb at the Fairmont Hotel coming out of a brunch. Was when I had my BlackBerry. I stepped, fell off the curb, smashed my knee on the cobblestone driveway. And I did a combat roll right when I fell, so I was like rolling. Got up, I popped up real fast. I'm like, Mommy, oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad. It was awful. Okay, and then I got to tell the story about what happened. What did I discover when I came home yesterday? What did I discover?
And bacon.
At my house. Okay, at my house, what did I discover in a bacon update? Okay, so you can guess. What did I discover at my house when I came home? Okay, I'll give you one hint. Okay, one hint. Oh, hold on, I got to think of it now. Okay.
Mouse.
Oh, well, that's one thing I did discover, but that's
You
not.
did?
I smelled something in the house. It smelled like dead animal. Okay, this is another thing. I smelled something. I said, Maria.
Was it the nanny?
That's awful. I said, what is it? And Maria said, maybe it's because the air conditioning, was turned up. And I said, nope. I said, that's dead. Something dead. I smell dead. It's death. Smell of death.
I smell death in here.
Yeah, I smell death. And then like an hour and a half later, Dima comes downstairs. Dimitri, Mommy, there's a dead mouse caught in a big trap behind my door. Somehow these snap traps from like 2 winters ago were still set. Thank goodness Nico didn't reach under and grab one of them. And that mouse, he got his neck broke real quick. And so that's what was smelling. I smelled it. When I walked in the door, I knew there was a dead animal. Of course, I didn't touch that thing. I made Maria throw it away. I was like, here's a bag. You do it. I'm not picking it up. So that's one thing. But that's not the thing I discovered. What did I discover when I came home from my trip? Okay, and I'll give one hint. Light. That's my first hint. 855-40-LAURA. In social media, do you find yourself on social media more than you'd like? And do you notice young people around you disengaging from current life because they're looking down at a screen? 855-40-LAURA. Thanks to my wonderful sponsors and your support, I'm glad to say that we can provide this podcast at no cost to you at all. As a loyal listener of my program, please consider testing our sponsors because they're the ones who actually cover the cost to produce this daily show. So if you're a dog lover like I am, how about giving your dog, your best friend, a fresh, healthy, and nutritious diet? When dogs eat well, they live longer and happier lives. I'm here to tell you about NomNomNow.com, which cooks the world's best dog food. It's made fresh in the USA and delivered right to your door every week. Nom Nom Now's customized recipes cook fresh in our kitchen, delivering healthy nutrition you can actually see. Switch to Nom Nom Now and your dog will have more energy, a shinier, softer coat, and a longer, better life. Nom Nom Now really is the best food for your best friend. And right now you can save 50% on your first 2 orders of fresh, healthy dog food when you use my code Laura at NomNomNow.com. That's code Laura and save 50% on your first 2 orders. NomNom now.com. And code word LAURA.
I found myself with the whole Facebook thing wondering way too often what other people were doing, and so I just decided it needed to stop because I was finding myself doing it at work, on my cell phone, on my lunch break.
855-40-LAURA. Are you finding the screen addiction, whether it's texting or social media, Facebook, maybe it's Instagram, Reddit, all of it, that it's just stopping you from living? Just living. Being, speaking, looking eye to eye, or not. Let's go to David, Kansas. On line 6. David.
Hi, Laura. How you doing today?
I'm great.
Well, I had a really interesting experience with my 13-year-old sister-in-law who visited us from California this summer. We took her to a water park called Sitterbond. Had the world's tallest water slide. Really amazing place. 2 hours in the day, she started feeling sick to her stomach, had a headache. She was complaining almost the entire rest of the day that we were there. And then as soon as we get in the truck and to head home, she puts her cell phone back in her hand. All of a sudden, the nausea goes away, her headache goes away. She's happy, go lucky again. And my wife and I turned and looked at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, she cannot be happy unless she has her cell phone in her hand and has her Instagram and her Facebook and everything on it. And it just absolutely floored us. We couldn't believe it.
That is disturbing. First of all, when kids complain when they're on vacation or doing something that is things that I never had the chance to do, I have no patience for that. I stop things real quick. When I hear a complaint, guess how it goes? Mommy, and I just kind of stop and I stare. This is what I just stop and stare. And then the silence gets really uncomfortable for kids. So now I kind of quiet it down, and then I speak really softly. Dimitri, Mommy hears you complaining about a treat. Do you think that's a good thing to do? Do you think that's a good thing to do? No. Okay, let's continue. They start getting really quiet. They don't like that silence. See, they get really... But I'm telling you, they're addicted to these screens. There's just no doubt about it. Let's go to Celeste, Ocala, Florida, line 5. Celeste, welcome.
Hi, Laura. I have a comment about the social media thing. I am personally not on social media because, my husband and I are building our business and we work really hard and we have a life. But I notice all the people around me, like all the kids especially, they're just all over it. And, I think part of it is because of this whole cultural change that we're seeing. The kids, they don't feel like there's anything out there for them. They don't have any hope. All this, hope that was supposed to be out there. They don't have any hope. What have they got to look forward to, really? Everybody is just telling them that, the government is everything to them, but they know deep down inside that there's something out there for them. Yeah. And I think it's really hard for them, but on the other hand, we have to have a change in this government and a change in this culture.
Yeah, but I don't think that 8-year-old is thinking about the government, right? I see your point. Maybe some of the older kids just want to belong to something. Julie, Lincoln, Nebraska, on line 1. Jules.
Good morning, Laura. Hey, I heard something sad. My 8-year-old nephew went away to summer camp.
Uh-oh.
And on the 5th day, he was crying, not because he was homesick, but because he missed his iPad.
Tech sick. Yeah, he was tech sick, meaning he was missing his technology. That's very sad. Well, this is what apparently the parents are allowing the kids to do, and they do it, and they babysit the kids with the screens, and then the kids get defined by the screens, and they miss out on life.
Our headquarters here in Port-au-Prince house a couple hundred of employees. We have our nutritional clinic right here. They see over 750 people a week. And also then here we have our feeding center. 15,000 meals are prepared here every day.
This could be the only meal that a family has all day long.
It's just such a humbling experience to get to do this and serve God, to be the hands and feet on the ground.
You are listening to the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA. We're talking a lot over the past week or so about sacrifice and giving, and the Christian spirit is really motivated by the desire to help your fellow man. It should be when we do it right. We all get caught up in our daily lives and problems we have and health and kids, and I mean we have to do our daily life stuff. We do, but there is an enormous amount of suffering and need beyond our own shores of people who are helped by really like $1 a day could do an enormous amount to help people. And Food for the Poor are one of the great partners of the Laura Ingraham Show, and has been now over the past more than the past year or so. We did a great work with Angel Alomo, who you just heard there, who's executive director of Food for the Poor in Guatemala last year, courtesy of the Laura Ingraham Show listeners. We managed to help bring food and water to more than 3,400 children who are suffering in Guatemala. I went and was able to see the work on the ground that Food for the Poor does. 95% of all donations have gone to the poor that are served by this wonderful effort. And joining us now in studio, I'm just delighted he's with us. Todd Chapman is a national spokesperson, child advocate, marketing director for Food for the Poor. And now the work we're going to be doing this year in Haiti is very exciting. And all I know is you keep promising another trip for me. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? That I get to travel with you. You want to lock that in right now? Yeah.
Get your calendar out. We'll get it done right now before we get off the air.
That I get to travel with you, because that was one of the most important experiences I've had, and I think my life, going to Guatemala. I took Marie, obviously, who's from Guatemala, but next I told Dimitri, you're going to Haiti with me, my friend.
Yeah,
he's like, where's that? He has no idea where it is, but I said, we're going, so get ready. So he's ready, so he's going to be coming with me.
Anytime you're ready, you let me know, and we'll get the plane going.
Okay, so tell me what we're going to accomplish this year in Haiti.
Yeah, and I just want to thank all the Laura Ingraham listeners for what you did last year. So many kids are eating today because of what you did last year. I mean, how cool is that?
Awesome.
These are kids that, were going days without food.
I met some of them, yep.
You did, and so now they're getting 2 square meals a day. The nutrition they need. These are kids that are really, really badly malnourished, but you changed that with your gifts.
That was so great.
Yeah, pretty cool. So we're going to turn our focus into another country that actually the biggest in terms of the amount of aid that we put into countries. Haiti's the biggest. It's the neediest. It's the poorest country on this side of the planet, about 11 million people. And 70% of them are food insecure. They just don't get enough food. They don't have access to food on a daily basis. Of course, you remember the earthquake 2010 just devastated, 250,000 people dead in minutes, and then the terrible aftermath. We've been focused, justifiably so, on Harvey, but remember, it was just last October, Hurricane Matthew came right across Haiti and up into the Florida area.
And Louisiana was hit in August.
That brought devastation, but that was kind of sandwiched in between a 3-year drought, which is still going to this day. And that is really, that coupled with the hurricane, basically the Haitians don't have the ability to grow much, if any, of their own food. So everything's having to be imported. It's extremely expensive.
Yeah, to bring anything into an island is expensive.
These poor folks, they're just dying from a lack of food. So we have actually amped up our shipments of food into Haiti. We're shipping about 100 tractor-trailer loads of food and various supplies every month into Haiti, and that's more than 100 tractor-trailer loads every month, just of food to try to meet this need.
Oh my!
So yeah, again, thanks to our generous donors. So we really could use your help right now in keeping that food flowing. Another thing we're doing is, Haiti has a huge problem with clean water. And so we're building wells at the rate we've never built them before, putting in water purification systems.
How hard is that to do? To put? I've always wondered. I hear about bringing
the
water,
well or the water purification system.
Both. I mean, how hard is that to put in?
I mean, it's tough. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. We work with Water Missions International. They're experts in water, so they go into and it's not cookie cutter. I mean, every situation is different. How deep is the water table? Is that water good? Will a well work? Or if it's not, and oftentimes in Haiti, it's not good water in the water table. So we have to pump water out of that, run it through a solar-powered water purification system. These are amazing. They pump out 10,000 gallons of water a day, pristine. I've drunk out of it. It's incredible. I mean, you look at the water going in, you're like, yeah, not touching that. It's coming out. I've had glasses. It's great. And these service 3,000 people. They have a lifespan of decades. So, yeah, it's tough, but it's, we've found across 30 years of working in Haiti that that's the best long-term solution. And that's really what we're all about, because we want to make lasting change in these countries.
How do you assure my listeners that the funds that go to Food for the Poor go directly to the poor? A lot of people think, Haiti, they always have corrupt governments, the government skim off the top. But you guys manage to avoid all of those problems by the way you operate. And I want to assure people of that because I've seen it directly.
No, it's a great question, especially now, because there have been some
already scams, by the way, Hurricane Harvey. Already scams of people. It's sick. It's the biggest. It's absolutely sick.
It's just heartbreaking. You talk about
charity scams,
kicking people when they're down. Well, Food for the Poor. Here's what I can tell you. 35 years old. We open our books every year to accountability organizations, Charity Navigator, Ministry Watch, and so
you get the highest rating, by the way.
Yeah, check it out. Yep. We have nothing to hide. 10 consecutive years now, over 95% of all the donations that come in go right back out to serve these folks. But it's a great question for Haiti, because the government there is notoriously corrupt. And I actually had this. I was there in July, and I had this conversation with our executive director, Angel, and I said, so we don't, we've never had to, fall victim to the government corruption, because there's a lot of palm greasing that goes on. He's like, let me tell you a story. When we first started working in Haiti, somebody in the government came to us and said, hey, if you want to make sure your stuff gets off the docks, a little help over here. And he said, in that moment, that very first moment, we said, we will never pay a dime feeding corruption. We're never going to grease palms. And the second we are forced to by the government, we're done working in Haiti. And
so
it's never become an issue since. And Food for the Poor is now the largest charity at work in Haiti today. As a matter of fact, our executive director down there, Bishop Oji, he was telling me when I was there last month, he met with the president of Haiti, who's been in office about a year now. They were talking about the various needs in the wake of Hurricane Matthew and the drought. And he said, what about housing? And Bishop Oji puts his hands up, told him what we're doing. He said, what about water? All these other charities gathered in the room. Bishop Oji said, I began to get a little self-conscious because my hand was the one going up the most. He said, I get back to my office, the president of Haiti calls me, and he said, thank you for your time in the meeting. It became very clear to me in that meeting that there are two charities working in Haiti, Food for the Poor and everybody else.
That's wild.
And I say
good.
It's awesome.
I don't mean to boast about Food for the Poor, but that's pretty cool.
Well, here's the thing, Laura, and that's what I was going to say. I don't say that to pat Food for the Poor on the back.
I do.
And that's okay. But
I'm competitive on everything, so I want to be the best.
Me too. I'm right there with you. But we are a faith-based organization. Everything we do because we believe in God and what His Word tells us to do, and a big part of that is helping other people. So it makes me feel good as an employee of Food for the Poor to have someone like that. And this guy is not very charity friendly. He's pretty skeptical. For him to say that, I love it.
That's
because it's great, acknowledgement of what God has set up through Food for the Poor and the difference that we're making in Haiti. But again, the biggest heroes in this whole equation, it's you listening right now, because Food for the Poor, we don't get government money. We don't get
nothing
grants
from the government.
No, it's all
you got none of the government. You don't have the government strings attached either, which is
it's all people giving $50 here, $150
which is what I like.
There. Yeah.
Now, people listening to Todd with Food for the Poor, Todd Chapman, he has that voice. You think, that voice. He sounds like he's done this before in the media. Some people have a voice that you recognize, and that just one of those smooth voices. You were a broadcaster.
Yeah.
What? Tell us about your broadcasting.
I'm an old radio slug.
He has such a radio voice. I love it. I have like a weird voice, but I do radio. But you have that classic radio voice.
But I could never do TV. So
actually, totally could do TV. Are you kidding me? Radio is much harder.
You're awesome on TV. Every time I turn on Fox News, there you are.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is my friend Laura.
Yeah, it's far too often lately, which is why I look the way I do. But how did you move from the you were working for various radio companies, a spokesperson, but how did you get into this? Like,
go back to 1999. I'm working at a station in Dallas. I'm the morning guy, and from time to time we would raise money for various charities, and so I'd done a little bit of that. And Food for the Poor called, said, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about working with your station, and how about if we take you to Jamaica to see our work?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go do that." And so, a couple of weeks later, I find myself I get off the plane in Jamaica, and literally 90 minutes later, I'm standing on top of a mountain of garbage, watching people that lived around that garbage dump forage through that and trying to find something to eat.
In this country.
Oh, it's incredible. And so it was a long weekend where it just rocked my world and, really planted a spark in me that I wanted to help these people.
Were you Christian before?
Yeah. I grew up in a Christian family, and at the time that was actually a Christian radio station that I was working at, a Christian talk radio station. And so now fast forward, I left that company some years later. I was working for Clear Channel for a while, and as many radio people do, I got downsized. So it's like 2010. And I'm
remember they
I'm
cut
on
a
the
lot
beach.
of people then.
Yeah, I'm on the beach, as we say in the business, and out of radio completely. I think I was selling copiers or something.
Yeah.
And I just started praying. I had actually read a book about serving the poor, and that kind of rekindled that spark. And I just said, God, it would be really cool if you could take my broadcasting background, which I miss, and I really want to help the poor and put something together. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know if you believe in prayer or not, but I do. I've seen the difference it makes in my life. Within weeks, man, I saw a job opening at Food for the Poor. I applied, and a month later, here I am. And 7 years now. It's been the most incredible ride of my life.
What a story.
Yeah, I love it.
That's just a great American story.
Yeah.
I mean, the organization is a great American organization, great Christian organization, doing the things that we're supposed to do every day, but I like hit myself in the head every. I'm like, okay, what have you done for someone else today? Like you take care of your kids, but like I say, this woman. I mean, this is just a total side note. Coming to the studio today, there's this intersection that I always go by, and I was late, as Drew knows, because I was running a little late today, and there's bad traffic. And there's this woman who has a sign, one cardboard sign, homeless, hungry, whatever. And you know how you're always told, don't give money to the panhandlers?
Right.
I always give something to the women. Especially the women and the elderly. And I know that people say, they go out and buy booze. You know what I say? If that's all they can buy booze. I mean, not that it's good, but it's something. I hate the fact that we have people who are either hungry or alone, and I think everybody has a story.
That's right. Right.
People here who are in trouble have a story. Maybe they're drug addicted. Maybe they're not. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they have no family.
We don't know.
Maybe they're estranged from their family.
Right.
But for the grace of God, go I. We live in the United States where we usually can get help.
Yeah.
People in other countries don't have resources.
Right.
But you kind of do what you can do in the moment. But when you have an organization like Food for the Poor that actually has the infrastructure and the time-tested process in the strategies for getting the help to the people who need it most, then you don't have to do this guessing game of, give a little money here. You know that the money is going to get to the right people. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm in a street corner. I'm just handing out $20 bills to people. Yeah. And she comes up to my car frequently now because I give her whatever I have in the middle glove box, and it's usually some 20, so I just pass them out. But I don't know what the hell she does with it. But I feel women on the street, especially something about a woman on the street.
It's tough.
Awful.
Yeah, and it's amazing in countries like Haiti and Guatemala, the countries that we work in. It's amazing how far a dollar goes. I mean, what a huge difference
versus
it can
here
make.
Versus Washington D.C., where $20 lucky to give you lunch.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you burn through $20 a day, and you don't know where it's.
So how do we give today?
Okay.
On Food for the Poor.
Real easy. If you're next to the phone or in the car, 844-868-HOPE. The number's on that 4673 because I hate spelling stuff on my phone.
844-868-HOPE.
That goes right to our operators. 3 minutes. You can make a call. Go to lauraingraham.com. Bottom right-hand corner, there's a banner that says Give Life.
There.
Got Laura's pictures on
Easy.
there. And I just want to challenge you, so here's the deal money-wise. $50, one-time gift, provides a year's worth of food, clean, safe drinking water for life. How cool is that? Through a well or water purification system. So I just really want to challenge you. I mean, we hit Starbucks on the way over here, and I got my typical grande flat white.
Look what I got. I always get that
$4.50.
It's a rip-off.
If you could, just think what you spend on one cup of coffee, do that per month. Once a month for the next 12 months, you've fed a child for a year and you're giving them clean water for life, and you're going to save some kids. All
right, I'm kicking it off. And I'll give more, but I'll give $1,000 now to Food for the Poor. So $1,000 for me. All of you money bags out there who can give, you can give at least that much. Okay, so $1,000. I'm giving a one-time donation, but I'll do another one. And we raised a lot of money last year. I want to beat the number that we raised last year. We'll do it. But I just appreciate everything you do, and it's so much fun to see you. So we'll schedule. I have a book tour in October, so it's a little rough before then.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do it in November. I don't know. Well, we'll look at it.
We'll do a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just let us know.
All right. Well, we'll do it.
Make it happen
it's
for you.
It's going to be slightly easier than the Guatemala
Ask Trump
trip.
if we can borrow the plane.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm sure he'll just loan it to me. No big deal. A little better than some of the airlines I've been on lately. Todd Chatton, we really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Of course, great career in broadcasting, and found himself doing something a lot more fulfilling than just doing the morning drive. Although you probably missed the morning drive. Hey, you can come in and fill in for me anytime you want, my friend. You want? I need some good fill-in hosts.
The collective IQ in this room would drop by about 3,000 points if I came in.
No, it'd be great to have you on. Well, we'll get you back on soon. But it's just great to talk to my friends, and we'll be scheduling our trip with Food for the Poor. And remember, donate today. Any amount can help, but be as generous as you can. It always feels good to give away. You can get stuff any day of the week.
You're never going to feel better than when you do this.
Feels good to give away. Feels really good. 844-868-HOPE, 844-868-HOPE. Or if you want to go to the web, go to lauraingraham.com and see. You'll see that little banner ad. My face is on the ad, and it's very cool. You can donate that way as well to Food for the Poor. Todd Chapman, thank you so much. We'll take a break. Laura. Don't go away.
The Laura Ingraham Show.
You're listening to the Laura Ingraham Show on LifeZet. Great pieces. Go to lifezet.com. A lot of great pop culture pieces as well. And I'll check in throughout the day.
Your healthy radio addiction starts now.
Power to the people!
The Laura Ingraham Show.
You could be about one desire, darling. I think it's gonna work out fine. It's gonna work out fine.
60% of Americans actually want to work well beyond age 65 if their bodies and employers allow. But it's health issues that quash the plans of many middle-class workers to work into retirement.
Started to make wedding plans.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Where's the exit?
You are listening to your Healthy Radio Addiction, 855-40-LAURA. Not about wedding plans, but about working way into the period that you thought, well, that's when I'm going to retire. I don't understand that. I'm going to retire so I can... what? Do what? You're going to travel? For how many years are you going to travel? I'm going to retire. I keep hearing people saying, well, I want to retire early. That's a great question for a Monday in July. I know a lot of people who decided to retire who just are kind of waiting to die. I don't know if I'll retire. I don't think so. Now, I just can't imagine myself not working. I mean, it's just who I am. You can do something different. It doesn't mean you have to do the same type of job, but the idea that you're just going to get up every day and then figure out, okay, I'll play golf at 8, I have a tea time, then I'm going to meet people for lunch, then I'm going to go shopping, then I'm going to come home and I'm going to make dinner, then I'm going to sit in front of the TV. I don't know if that keeps your mind engaged. To me, that it's kind of giving up. And I know if it's easy to say when maybe you have a job like mine, and if you're working manual labor, you only have probably a certain number of years you can be active in that workplace. But it doesn't mean you couldn't do something else. It doesn't mean you couldn't be out there with the people, and maybe it's working as a volunteer, or working at a Starbucks, or working as a greeter at a host or hostess in a restaurant, just being out with people. I think being with people in a work environment does keep your mind active, much more so than just figuring out what your next social engagement is going to be. And the reality is most people can't retire now because of how expensive everything is. Well, healthcare, you get your Medicare, but it doesn't cover everything. A lot of people want their healthcare covered by their employer. There's a new piece out today about how people are working into their 70s. Working past 70, Americans can't seem to retire. Almost 19% of people 65 or older were working at least part-time in the second quarter of 2017, according to the U.S. jobs report released on Friday. The age group's employment population ratio hasn't been higher in 55 years before American retirees won better health care and Social Security benefits starting in the late 60s. And the trend looks like it's going to continue. Millennials, prepare yourselves. Better yet, consider this. There's this really scary chart about postponing retirement. Certainly, baby boomers are increasingly ignoring traditional retirement age of 65. Last quarter, 32% of Americans 65 to 69 were employed. My mother worked as a waitress. I think she was 73 when she retired. Still working, waiting tables. She loved it. She was sad when she had to leave. She loved her customers. She loved getting up in the morning and going in. She worked from the late morning to not full day, but at that point she worked probably until about 5. And she enjoyed it. Kept her out there. And then she died at age 79. So she had 6 years of, and her health started to decline because she had cancer. But I'm not sure she would have ever retired if if they didn't kind of force her out. When you're a certain age, they don't want you as a waitress anymore. People need the money. The longer you work, the easier it is to afford a comfortable retirement. Longer lives and rising healthcare costs have made retirement more expensive at the same time that stagnant wages and the decline of traditional pensions have made it harder to save enough. How many of you feel like you've saved enough to retire at the age where you thought you would retire? 855-40-LAURA. I know people who are leaving the United States to retire because it's cheaper to live in Costa Rica, for instance. A lot of people have moved down there, Central America. You can have maids and cooks and drivers and, you go down to Salvador. I mean, you can have a lot of people working for you for very little. It's also pretty dangerous down there. But Costa Rica, they have entire retirement enclaves that were great investments, by the way, years ago. A lot of real estate developers went down there. Went down to Baja in Mexico, down the Baja Peninsula. I used to walk that. Well, gosh, when I was there with my brother once, I walked that beach I think we walked one day for like 3 hours. We kind of gamed it out. They would walk maybe 7-8 miles along just the water's edge. There was nothing there. And this was now 13 years ago, probably. Maybe 13 years ago. It's all developed. Belize, same thing. The country of Belize becoming very popular with American retirees. Why? It's a cheaper place to live. The cost of living is much lower. And you have a good lifestyle. That's kind of sad. I mean, well, as American manufacturing has declined, so has the ability for a lot of these companies to offer pensions. And, we have a problem with the public pensions, the insolvency of public pensions, which a lot of people think, along with the student loan situation, is a ticking time bomb. A lot of people don't have the pensions. I remember back when I was a little kid, it's like, I have a good pension. Not many people have pensions today. I don't think. Drew, do you think I'm ever going to retire? What do you think?
Laura, no, you can't retire. Your mind wouldn't let you retire.
There's just no way.
Wouldn't happen.
I can't do it. There's just no way I could retire.
No.
I could see do something else, and
maybe you would stick to just TV or something.
Yeah,
Don't do the radio. I could see that, but you'd be doing something.
Have my walker, showing up. Where's that segment?
Hannity and you would still be going.
Yeah, Hannity will never retire. No, they'll pull him out of there in a box. He'll never retire. It's kind of your gets you up in the morning.
Well, it's your passion too.
It's your passion. You're passionate about what you do. You want to stay involved. Like Bill Gates, when he left Microsoft, he did his Gates Foundation. So he does all that all around the world. And other people who are in politics
like
and the media.
Clintons, they can never retire, right?
No, yeah. Hillary's just in the woods. She's walking in the woods now. It's all she does. But just retiring, I can't see it. I'm going to talk about graffiti later on in the segment, too. I'm going to talk to you about When graffiti picks up in a city, that's on it. The city's going down the tubes. Graffiti everywhere in Athens, Greece. You can't look at the side of a building. The shutters that they pull down to protect businesses at night. Graffiti everywhere. I was running on the canal in Georgetown. Running is an exaggeration, but I was shuffling on the canal because I got foot problem, plantar fasciitis. But anyways, getting some exercise. Graffiti everywhere. And aren't you tired of people saying, "Oh, it's urban art"? Oh, really? Urban art? You know what? Anyone caught doing graffiti should have a severe penalty. I'm not saying cut their hands off like you do in Iran or anything, but should be a severe penalty, and they should have to work outside covering up graffiti. I can't stand graffiti. And then there's a big thing in DC about how we should encourage graffiti in different parts of the city because it lets people blow off steam. Yeah, there's this big piece in the Metro section today, the Washington Post. The DuPont Underground, whose tunnels are alive with art, music, and improv, seeks funds to grow. And guess what the art is? Graffiti all over the walls in the underground area under DuPont Circle, which is a neighborhood in D.C. They want more investment. But look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They think this is art. I'm showing it to Drew. Look at that. They want more money to fund that kind of art.
It's even worse in Logan Circle where I live. I mean, there's
awful graffiti everywhere.
Yeah, new apartment buildings. They have graffiti all over them. This is like just brand new. I mean, built this year, past 2 years.
You know, it's people who they're resentful that they want to ruin what they don't have. They want to ruin it. But I'm telling you, there should be severe penalties. Yeah, you spend 8 hours a day outside covering up the graffiti. You'll think twice before you do it again. I don't like that. Marvetta. Oh, I love that name, Marvetta. Marvetta. I want to hang with Marvetta in Virginia. Go ahead, girl. I hope you're a girl. Go ahead.
Yes, I am a girl.
Good.
And I am working still, and I'm a rep. I go into department stores. I do volunteer work. I'm a widow, and I find it very advantageous for me just to kind of keep going.
Mm-hmm. You're 75?
Extra money. 75. I'll be 76 in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't stopped yet. I mean, it's not that I'm stupid. It's just a pleasure to get up and get going. You know, you put on the makeup and try to keep your figure down, which I'm working on now.
Working on it, girl. Work it. You
Yeah,
gotta keep working it. Push the merchandise. You know,
my mother worked part-time until she was about 74. And so I think you've got a good idea. Just keep going.
Gives you something to do. I mean, you've, and I don't want to equate having a purpose in life with working because that's not right either. But when we say have a purpose in something that you love, and don't say that you have a purpose in getting your handicap down in golf. Okay, I'm not buying that at all. It's fine. You should have fun. You should definitely be able to enjoy yourself as you get older. It'd be nice to have an economy that supported people who've paid into it their entire life to be able to have a few years of relaxation when they have their health. Remember, it is nice to be able to do things when you're healthy, but when you work and you can have a little vacation, then you can do things when you're healthy and young. But see, Marvetta's out there. She's putting the makeup on as a rep to these department stores, and you got something going on. I like it. Let's go to Bernie in Florida on line 6. Bernie is 70 years young. Tell us about your work schedule.
Yes, I still work full time, pretty much at least 5 days a week, sometimes 6. And I don't know, I have a lot of customers that I see retired. All my customers, for the most part, are retired. And I can tell you right now, I see them retire
and die.
And they sit down in their houses and start playing with their computers. I go back a year later, and they look 10 years older.
They're dead. Well, they're dead, or they're on senior porn sites. Sorry. You know those senior porn sites? They go, how do I know that? Okay, because I spent a lot of time in a couple elderly facilities over the last 5 years. Porn among the elderly is really big. I'm sorry. It's really disturbing. It's disturbing anyway, but it's somehow even more disturbing in that scenario. Yeah, Bernie, I don't think I'm going to retire anytime soon. They'll probably have to take me out of here in a box, or take me out of the workplace in a box. That's fine. I want to be. Is it okay if I'm standing up at my funeral? I'd like to be standing up with a recording of my voice coming out when when people pass the casket, I'd like to say, "Don't I look good?" Like so they can actually step back a second. Like, whoa, she's still speaking. I have a little microphone. They could have set the microphone up. Pete just walked in, and I'm talking about my funeral. Is that a bad sign for a Monday? No, funerals are solemn occasions, but I'd like to have my funeral service to have a little something going on, like a little something extra. So, Pete, I was saying my voice should come out of the casket. So when you walk by, and I'd like to be standing up in my casket. And so when the people walk by, I say, "Don't I look good?" Looking good. I have words of wisdom to take. They can leave the funeral mass in the wake. They could leave it with just a few words of wisdom. Hard won wisdom.
I couldn't agree more. I
think
it'd be great.
I would have a song list. Maybe I should focus on that in come up with the song list, like the music I want, like just like we do on the show, like the music I like. I don't want the dirges. I want maybe some Eagles.
A little Dylan.
I want some good 70s Dylan, Eagles. We got Merle Haggard. We got it all, And
then I think we finish with the whole gospel singers in the background.
Oh yeah, we'll get the staple singers. We'll have a great Amazing Grace, not a depressing Amazing Grace, but a great Amazing Grace. You're gonna go out of my funeral. You're gonna feel good about life.
I'm looking forward.
My
to
enemies will. I know that. So you're looking forward now. Drinks, hello. Of course, they're gonna be margaritas that are good ones. Chris will make the margaritas. I'll make sure they're good. Chris is like, okay, that means you're going to outlive me. All right, let's go to. We're talking about retirement. Whether you retire and you die, because people who retire just are waiting to die. They're waiting to die, and I don't believe in retirement. I'm sorry. I believe in having fun and maybe changing the type of job you do, but you have to stay engaged.
Exactly. Look at the people engaged. that are older, out of their careers. They're engaged in something, and they are healthy, happy. Right. They're mobile.
Yeah, we'll take a break. We'll get your quick calls on this. 855-40-LAURA.
Well, I reckon that ought to get it been working and working. Forever young, forever young. May good fortune be with you, may your God.
One of the areas with the earliest retirement ages is the Appalachian region. Well, it's the poorest region of the country with the fewest jobs. That's one of the reasons. But not a lot of jobs. They got rid of the coal industry, and you're not going to be going down in a coal mine when you're 70 years old for the most part. By average retirement age, we're talking about whether you should ever retire. It's a great conversation for young people, too. They're planning their lives, and you have to plan your financial security and make sure that you're saving enough. How much do you save every paycheck, Drew? Do you have a budget where you save? How much do you save every paycheck?
I typically try to save about $350 to $400 a month. That's my goal. Is usually about $350 to $400 a month.
So,
that's roughly for what I make. That's about average. That's pretty good.
James,
I try and save as much as I can, but with a wife and a baby, it usually just kind of disappears real fast.
All right, you get You're both getting a raise. I'll give you a raise. Okay, that's fine. That make me feel bad. But you have to plan. Like when I was your age, I made almost no money, but I saved a little bit every paycheck. You have to save, and I don't care what you do. You have to save. You have to save. You should really save 10% of your salary every month. You really should save 10% because you think, oh, I can get by. You need to put money away for a rainy day, and you need to think about how to orient your life so that whatever it is you end up doing, you can take some aspect of that experience and extend it into your, older years, because you keep busy. I'm telling you, I do not know people who've retired early and haven't had regrets. They regret it. I wish I didn't do it. After the first couple months, you're like, now what do I do? Let's go to Chuck in Greece. Chuck, go ahead.
Laura, Chuck and Patty, Sailing Vessel Soulmates. I'm 72, Patty's 70. We're in Thessalonica. We've been underway for 10 years. We don't have a house. We don't have a car. We've visited over 40 countries. Last year, we were probably the first sailboat in maybe 5, 6, 7 years to sail all the way around the Black Sea. This year, our goal is to winter over in Israel. We're having a great time. And by the way, we do this on Social Security only.
Well, you must be a good sailor, too. You know what you're doing. You can't just go with some random person on a boat. I'd sink in the first 100 yards. But you know what you're doing, correct? You're a good sailor, obviously.
We're not great sailors.
Oh, great.
We're good sailors. We never got on a sailboat until Christmas of 2000.
Oh, my gosh. What a great story. Okay, that's the counter. Get on a boat and just start moving. You're listening to The Laura Ingraham Show.
Hi, this is Ben Domenech, the host of the Federalist Radio Hour. We're a daily show coming to you 5 days a week from Washington, D.C., where we interview our nation's top journalists, politicians, authors, chefs, economists, entertainers, and more. If you're looking for a contrarian discussion on news, politics, or culture, give us a listen and subscribe at podcastone.com, the new Podcast One app, or at Apple Podcasts.
Change, now it's time for change. Nothing stays the same. Now it's time for change.
The era of working for one company and retiring with a gold watch has gone the way of the Edsel. 30 years ago, about half of American workers changed careers after the age of 45. These days, it's closer to 60%.
Wow, that's a big deal, too. Changing jobs beyond mid-career. Well, that's the way of the world now. The technology has changed. Retail is changing and shrinking. Don't you ever wonder what's going to happen when more retail goes? That's scary. That's a huge chunk of our workforce. The ghost mall syndrome, all these malls that were built in the 1970s and 80s. A lot of empty storefronts I saw in New York last week. A lot of empty storefronts. You notice that, Drew? You can't keep those keep that lease payment going. Not with the money they're making at these retail outlets. So I find that to be really disturbing. But Amazon.com, and they have the Chinese equivalent of that, and they push everybody out of business. And people say, well, that's the free market. Well, yeah, but you also have to ask what kind of community you want to live in, what kind of country you want to live in. Does that have a role in American society? And I have to say some of my best memories growing up are the small stores that we went to, the individually owned stores, the grocer, the dress shop, the craft store in my hometown, the individual filling station, because they call it a filling station for the gas station. I'm really going back to Walton's Mountain now, but in Connecticut, that was a filling station, and you knew the guy that would put the gas in your car, and it was fun. The kids knew them, and it does foster a sense of community. But a lot of people in their older years would go into retail because it gets them out of the house, and it's not too difficult physically. Sometimes you're standing on your feet all day, but you can take a little rest here and there. But a lot of people did that as they retired. Again, got them out of the house. Do you ever find this? This happened to me. I think over the weekend I had a few hours where my kids were off doing things, and I decided I'm gonna go lie down. It's tired. I want to lie down. And I go lie down, and then I realize 2 hours have gone by. I haven't rested at all. And I don't know what I just got. I just wasted 2 hours. I didn't do anything. So I didn't get any rest, and I was on the computer, start looking around. Oh, this plane ticket, then I got to change this. You just waste time. You just waste a lot of time. If you don't have something specific that you have to do, you tend to waste time. Or I shouldn't say you, I tend to waste time. I'm not blaming you, but I tend to waste a lot of time. When I have these boxes to unpack at my house, I'm avoiding this like the plague. I don't even want to go into the place that's my office. I can tell you this, I'll be dead before those boxes are ever unpacked. I'm never going to unpack them. I don't want to look at them. I don't want to throw them away, but I don't want to look at them. So my office is now filled with various boxes, stuff on the desk, and my radio equipment's in there. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's just sitting there. But I could have been doing that, but I didn't want to do that. I don't know. You tend to waste a lot of time if you don't have something. Like I think I got more done when my book was still working on the book. Now the book's done. I'm like, what have I gotten done over the last week? Nothing important other than hosting on the O'Reilly Factor, hosting Hannity. Sorry, see it comes. What? See, I'm telling you, I have that on the brain. Even the teases in the teleprompter last week were O'Reilly Factor. I almost said coming back to Factor. I almost said that a couple times. I'm telling you, it was odd. We did well in the ratings on Thursday, by the way. I can't wait to see what the ratings Friday's always low for the summer. You don't get many people watching, but we did very well on Thursday. Okay, a lot of people are calling in. William in Indiana on line 1. You're retired from the U.S. Navy. You're still working. How old are you?
I'm 57.
Mm-hmm.
I've been retired for 19 years. I make enough on my Navy retirement. I don't need to work, but I got grandkids. You got to make sure you get them things. And about every 2 years, I go on a cruise.
That's fun. What kind of cruise? What's your favorite cruise line? What's your favorite cruise line? You go on those cruise lines at Carnival?
Yep.
You ever get sick on one of those?
I went on. Yep, I'm an old Carnival cruiser.
You ever get sick? I always worry about the cruises.
No.
Every time I notice a cruise gets any publicity, it's always someone getting sick, and then they're stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and you got 100 people with really bad diarrhea or something. I'm always worried about that on the cruise. But you're a cruiser. You like the cruises.
I've never had a problem with it. I love cruising. But again, it gets me back. I was in the Navy for 20 years.
Okay,
I did a lot of cruising there.
A lot of cruising there. You know what? I have to say? I think you're either a cruiser or you're not. I personally am not a cruiser. I think I would throw myself off the boat if I were on a cruise. I just couldn't do the cruise. I don't like being, you know what else I don't? I don't like people coming up to me when I'm just trying to have a little peace. And I tend to think that you're forced to be social on the cruises. People, you're at the buffet line. I'm not a big buffet person either. I'm just not James loves the buffets. James loves those fruit compote that you put on top of the pancakes. He loves that compote.
Breakfast buffets are awesome.
Oh, jeez, those are the worst. That's eggs or powdered eggs. They've been sitting there since the day before. Those are the worst. No, I can't do the all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. Let's go to Shepherd in Florida, line 3. Our caller sounded a little older than 56. He said he was 57, 56. If you asked me how old he was, I would have said 85. Isn't that funny how voices tend to... Shepherd, go ahead.
Yes, I'm 56. Hello, Laura.
You sound 56, by the way. You sound 56. You don't sound 86.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I am 56. I'm trained as an auto mechanic. In 2009, I was laid off from my factory job building fire trucks. I tried to go back into mechanics. Unfortunately, several surgeries sidelined me. I've been under the knife more times than the Frankenstein monster. And I now walk with a cane. And I was told, well, maybe you need to retire. And I said, no way. So I now sell auto parts and hand out repair advice. I also keep my 4 cars running great. I have 2 cars that are 18 years old, and you'd never know it from the way they run. And I just had to stay in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to have a reason to get up in the morning. And at the auto parts store, when they hired me, they say, well, what are your long-term plans? I said, well, I can see myself selling auto parts well into my 70s.
Good.
And I've been doing it 4 years now, and I just have a blast doing it. And a lot of times when I'm off, my managers have told me, hey, that people will come in and say, hey, where's that guy that walks with a cane? I got to talk to him.
Yeah, because you know what you're doing. And you know what I'm going to say, Shepherd? You're an expert in your field.
What's that?
You're an expert in your field.
I try to
You
be.
know what you're doing. May I just interject on the word expert? I have supposed experts who have helped me on my new house. And these people are paid really handsomely. Okay, and I'm talking big bucks. And they're lovely people. But I think we have to have some qualification on the word expert, because when you tell me you're an expert in something, I then do this thing called rely on you, because you are supposed to know more than I know about, let's say, what type of stone to put around a patio that's going to get the direct sunlight. Had I been told from an expert that bluestone burns your feet, I would not have had bluestone on my patio, because an expert should say, right, just like an auto part, you say, well, you can get this brand, this will last you 5 years. If you get this brand, a little more expensive, it's guaranteed for 10. Then you can make an informed judgment based on the money. But I have a lot of experts who aren't really experts, but they get paid a lot of money. I think I know more than they do about what they're supposed to do. Frustrating.
Well, most of my knowledge came with Asian cars, and I didn't plan on being an Asian car mechanic. But when I was learning auto mechanics in the late '70s, early '80s, there was a big anti-foreign car bias
I remember
here
that.
in Florida.
Yeah.
And whenever a Toyota, Datsun, Volkswagen came into the shop when I was learning auto mechanics, the other students refused to work on it. They said, "If it ain't got a 350 in it, I ain't touching it." So I said, "Fine, give it to me.
And
I'll
you
work
stepped
on it."
in.
When I graduated, I had a marketable skill because at the time, a good foreign car mechanic was hard to find. So
I have a question.
I mean, I have worked on
Is there
Americans.
anything? Is there anything that you can't take apart and put back together again? Really? I mean, in the house, I bet you could fix anything, right? Pretty much.
I just got through putting two new faucets in my house.
Okay, you know something.
And it was $240 worth of parts.
You know how much it would cost to hire someone to do that? Today, forget it. 2 faucets, that'll be $1,000 easily. And if they know you live in Washington, they jack it up 40%. It's an outrage.
Well, I'm the only plumber that I want to pay.
You can afford.
And I'll be honest with you, that I can pay. I can well afford a plumber, but with me walking with a cane, you got to remember something.
This is not a country music song.
Me 2 hours to do. Yeah. Well, what used to take me 2 hours to do now takes me 2 days to do.
No, that's all right. You're doing fine. When he first started with the cane and I lost my job, I'm like, my dog died. I thought that I really was going to see if we could get someone to come in and like Dwight Yoakam do a country music song or something. But he's cool. He can fix anything. Yeah, I'm telling you. Drew, you could put a faucet in though, right?
Yeah, no, I actually could. I worked.
You learned it from your
from my dad. Yes,
yeah.
Remodel. I used to tile floors, did plumbing,
See?
Roofing. That type of thing.
Can you do a lot, James? Can you do a lot? I bet you can too. No, if you have to.
I'm a bit of a city slicker when it comes to that regard.
I would have assumed you could do anything
New Yorker,
too.
You know, he's a New Yorker.
I mean, plumbing probably not my forte, but give me something and give me a few minutes to figure it out, and I'll get it done.
Yeah.
I'll get it done.
My dad was construction. He's a construction worker. He owns a construction business, so that's what that's the only reason I would learn it. If it wasn't for him, I would never know any of this.
I see my sons, I've got to have to send them to live with someone like that. They're not going to learn any of that.
Well, you'll save a ton of money to his point too, because I would never call someone over to do any of those type of things because I know how to do it myself for most of the part. You know what I mean? I got me a little rusty here and there for a few things, but
you know what I always do, like on the toilet when the toilet keeps running, I just like hit it really hard, like hit that rubber thing hard, and it usually stops. So that's all I know how to do. Like hit it. And then it will slowly quiet down.
They used to be easy to fix, Laura, but now they've gotten so high tech with these toilets. You have 2 little knobs and you have 2 little buttons. The green toilet.
The old is always the better. The old style is
way
always
easier
the better.
to fix.
We went from funerals to graffiti to toilets on this show, but
it's an interesting hour to say
that's
the least,
basically it's better than talking about Don Jr.'s meeting with the Russian lawyer, which is a big
what we're
zero.
talking about here.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. All right, let's go to John, Florida, line 2. Johnny.
Yeah, hey Laura, what a great show, and thank you. I hope I don't lose you. I'm driving from one practice to another, and I'm in Claremont, Florida, where they have the highest altitude. I might lose you.
That's all right. All right, go ahead.
But listen, I always start out. I'm a family doctor for 30 years. I always tell my patients who are retiring so young that my mom, after my parents' divorce, drove a school bus for 35 years. It was the only job she could do where she could take care of 4 kids, and she was just about 80 years old when she finally laid down the keys to that large 52-passenger school bus. And did she not set she set an example for all of her kids. So just keep working.
Keep working.
I'm going to be 60, and I tell my patients, your last 2 callers were such inspirations because they both one could have gone on disability, the other one could have retired with his military, but they keep working. And another point you haven't raised, I tell my patients who are younger than me that aren't working, you're going to be on Medicare for the next 35 years of your life and not contributing in any way to help pay the bill. I mean, come on, keep working so you can at least pay towards some of the, what's going to happen to you in the next 35 or 40. People live to 95 and 100 anymore, thank God, right?
Well, I think it's thank God if you have a quality of life. I'm not, like, if I don't have any quality of life, I'm for natural death, but it's like living to 100 if you're, you can't do much. But I think your point is if you stay engaged. And I love the older doctors. I will say that. My internist just retired. He's a rabid Democrat and a Hillary supporter. He has been my internist since 1994, 93. Well, maybe even earlier than 92. I love him. He's such a great person, and he helped me with my cancer. I mean, he's like one of the people responsible for finding my cancer. I mean, that's how he's like a close friend. He just retired, but he had lost his wife from Alzheimer's, and he got remarried, which is awesome. Got remarried to a wonderful woman. He said, I've worked so hard. We're going to do a little traveling. And he said, but I'm still going to stay engaged in panel discussion stuff that I'm going to, because he's a really, really successful internist and immunologist. But he was an example to me. Like the older doctors, they have a relationship with their patients. That's going to be gone too with this government-run healthcare, single payer, all this nonsense. You'll lose a lot of that good part of the patient-doctor relationship. All right, we'll take a break. 855-40-LAURA. One sentence only on why it's good to put off retirement and work longer. Don't go away. Remember, I'm going to be on Special Report tonight. Hannity too, Drew, or no? We don't know. Yes, both. All right, let's go to Tony, North Carolina, very quickly. Tony.
Hi, Laura. I'm 71 years old. I've been working since I'm 12, from part-time, full-time, banking, and right now I deliver flowers for the local florist in Statesville, North Carolina. I love my job, and there's no way I can even think about retirement.
Oh, I love it.
Kids are all under
59 years you've been delivering flowers. 59 years. I love it. Keep going. Keep your mind active. Whatever it is you have a passion for, keep pursuing it if you can. In a different way, maybe you have to change slightly how you pursue it, but that's okay. I love my listeners. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the Laura Ingraham Show podcast. Download new episodes every week at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com.
Podcast One has new shows on our new app. Check out all the cool features to help you explore our exciting new programming, like America's Lakers podcast with Jay Moore, Sessions with Randy Jackson, So Random with Corinne Olympios, Attack Each Day, The Harbaugh's podcast, Not Just Sports with Susie Schuster and Rich Eisen, and Sound of Success, The Dick Enberg podcast, as well as your old favorites like The Lady Gang, Steve Austin, Shaquille O'Neal, and Adam Carolla. Get the new Podcast One app in the App Store, Google Play, or podcastone.com.